have to pay a premium to enjoy the void space that comes along with this penthouse unit. This entire project.
Something that's very interesting is that on this particular step, which is step number 1, arrival drop-off point, you have a gym plus. So we're gonna head in. Let's go.
Mission control, we have liftoff.
Alright, welcome to another episode of our new launch review series. And today with me, John and Mikaela. Mikaela is the new face on our new launch review.
Yes.
We're going to cover an area that is very familiar to her.
Yes,
the
I'm very
D15.
excited of all projects that they gave me, and my first one is the area that I'm in love with, and I even have my own series about it, right?
Right.
And
So this is we are bringing to you a new development in D15. It's called Straits at Joo Chiat. We're very happy to share with you this boutique development. I think they had a preview last weekend, and they're going to do a launch this coming weekend, which is the 11th of May. Right. That's right. So I think let's jump right into the project facts, and I'll have John share with us all about this particular development.
Right. Okay. So we are in District 15.
Right.
So right along Joo Chiat Place itself. This is a boutique freehold project. We are looking at 16 units in total. So 16 very exclusive and very private freehold units for you. We have got a total of we have also got a
Total of 16 units, right?
Yes, correct. 16
Yeah.
units in total. And I think most importantly, from the unit breakdown itself, later we'll also show you more on that. We want to go on to the next slide.
Sure. The team is very much
Yes,
it's a very
yes.
unique team, this
Correct.
project.
So I think this is something that I want to highlight to everyone here, because this is clearly it's very unique. It's very focused in a sense that the design wise, both exterior as well as interior, that there's a lot of infusion of the Peranakan theme and concept and design that goes into architecture of the entire development.
Maybe I can
very true to the Joo Chiat
Heritage.
the District 15 heritage,
Right.
exactly.
Because I was there at the show flat shoot. I mean, if you haven't watched our show flat shoot content of this coverage of this Straits at Joo Chiat, you can basically have a relook at the coverage of that show flat tour. But when I was at the place itself, when I was looking at the whole entire place, the moment you stepped in, you can really feel the whole entire DNA of that Peranakan style. And what we understood from the developer is also that this development, Straits at Joo Chiat, basically is one of the two developments that I won't say complete, but it's part of what they call their heritage series. Because the first project they have done is called Straits Mansions. It's also very Peranakan style. So this time around, they want to come back to Joo Chiat area, come back to the East Coast area, and they want to create another series. And this time around, it's called Straits at Joo Chiat. So I think in terms of developer-wise, I mean, of course, this is basically one of the very renowned developer in D15 by Roxy Pacific. So I think they have a lot of footprint in the Jalan Kayu area. Not Jalan Kayu. Telok Kurau area. They have also done several big projects like 5 Derbyshire. You have your Mori, which is along Guillemard Road. Of course, your new at Novena. So they are not a foreign brand in today's market. I think they have been developing so many developments in the whole entire Telok Kurau area. So this is definitely an area that they are very familiar with. Yep. In terms of the corporate profile, I mean, this is basically a very quick write-up. You can see that they are actually, many years of experience. I think right now they are being helmed by the second-gen owner, if I'm not wrong, Joanne, right, that's running it, the daughter. So this is something that it is part of her project to basically bring to life the whole entire concept of a boutique development. And I still remember I covered the part where they had an interview and they mentioned that to them they believe that there will still be a buyer for boutique developments. I mean, of course, if you have followed our content long enough, you know that we have always been talking about big scale developments that have 200 units, 300 units, because it's all about the quantum effect. You have price movement and therefore the price will appreciate. But to them, they also believe that there are also certain profile of buyers who prefer small developments because they probably treasure the kind of like privacy. They do not want to be in an area where there's so many people walking around. They prefer the kind of like small developments.
Yep.
So it still appeals to people who wants to stay in D15, number one, Joo Chiat area, heritage, and stuff like that. So it seems we are talking about location. Maybe I can let Mikaela share more about this place.
Sure. So let's take a look at this. This is from the developer. What we have in that little circle there with the big sign, Straits at Joo Chiat. So it's literally along Joo Chiat Place. If you're familiar with the area, if you just walk out a little bit more, that's where you'll see Willing Hearts, you'll see the PCS Bako Tots. So that road will lead you to your PIE, and downwards you'll lead to MCE. So in terms of driving, super convenient. Right in front also, from what I remember, based off of full memory, right? There's a bus stop right in front. So it's really accessible. If you want to walk to the MRT station, the closest would be to Eunos MRT. And what they're saying is about 12 minutes, which is within the 1 kilometer radius. Not radius, but within the 1 kilometer range.
Right.
I think this area, one of the reasons why people love District 15 is because of the schools also. And this one does fall, there are 2 schools that fall within that vicinity, that 1 km, which is our...
Actually, it's Head Girls School.
Head Girls,
the
as
other
well
one
as
is the
CHIJ,
Right.
Katong Pride. Yeah.
Correct.
And then if you are an alumni, I think this will benefit you because Town Nan, St. Stephen's, St. Patrick, all the schools that people are trying to get into, they're all within your 1 to 2 kilometer radius. And one great thing that I really like about District 15, which I always share in the series, is that it covers you from preschool all the way to tertiary. So essentially, you can already see that there's a PCS Bako Tots just right outside, and that will be a 5 minutes walk. But otherwise, you have multiple preschools around the area. Then you have your primary schools, then you have your secondary schools as well, for the boys and for the girls, your Chongqing, your St. Patrick's, your Victoria Secondary. Then you also have your tertiary, which is your junior college. So basically it covers you from young to, I think, your adult years now, which is basically me.
Yep. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think in terms of amenities wise, I think the area is definitely full of amenities. All your malls is actually at the bottom. You have your I12 Katong, you have your Roxy Square, you have your Parkway Parade. So as well, we always mentioned about that triangular kind of like pyramid.
Yes.
You're right.
And I think heading up there's the Paya Lebar hub as well. So over there, I mean, you've got your amenities, your major shopping malls over there as well.
This is more of a zoom in one, but this is more of the elevated one. So you can see that the whole entire D15 in this area. Of course, going downwards, this will be a stadium already.
Yes.
So it's a very much of like a big overall map. But of course, you can see over here, they also did highlight the Long Island plan, right? So that is part of the whole entire East Coast master plan.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I think the appeal of D15 is always there, with its proximity, of course, to the city center, and then of course, the appeal of East Coast Park, it's always there as well, and just being in D15 itself, the heritage there, Siglap, Joo Chiat, for families who have actually grown up there, like yourself, I mean, you'll absolutely love it there. I think that y'all will want to continue staying there as well. Yeah.
So I think it also definitely appeals to a certain profile of buyers who probably would have already been staying there, maybe with their parents, and then they want to move out on their own, but they still want to stay within close proximity with their parents, and this is probably one of the few reasons that they may want to consider this particular project.
I think there are many considerations also, but I think we can go into that during the pricing model.
But of course, one of the key POI or point of interest is that we also have to make known to you that this development is actually sitting on a amalgamation of land of 2 semi-Ds, right?
Yes.
So the Roxy actually bought over the 2 semi-Ds,
Correct.
amalgamate the land, and then they developed this whole entire development. But it is sitting beside this, I would say this medical center. It's called Parkway East Hospital, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I think that's something for you to take note of as well. I mean, end of the day, when we talk about East Coast, we talk about Telok Kurau, we know that it is not sitting on a pure landed zone.
Correct.
And it is very inherent that when you walk into Telok Kurau, you know that usually you will see a mixture of landed homes, small developments, and I think that is also the very reason why this area, some people, they like to buy into this area because there may be a potential for developers to come and buy over their land and turn it into apartments, right? But of course, by having the kind of thought and having the kind of like characteristics of the land, then of course your next door neighbor may eventually, if you're staying in landed,
Might one day be a boutique development as well.
Correct.
Yeah.
Which is what happens for this particular development, which is Straits at Joo Chiat. Right.
So you explained it right lah, because the only landed zonings that you get in District 15 would be towards the Siglap Frankel, and then if you move over to the Mountbatten area, that's where you would get your proper pure landed zonings, which is why I think a lot of developers then go and explore into the Telok Kurau region or the Joo Chiat as well. Because Joo Chiat, like for example, there's that Clayton's, and then there's an upcoming one, Kun Sing House, things like that. So it's a very good opportunity for even smaller time developers to go and explore. So a lot of a lot of constant rejuvenation, I would say. A lot of new injection of new properties for buyers.
Of course, we know that this is actually a small piece of land, and usually for a small piece of land, the developers will be very creative in how they will lay out the place, putting in the facilities and stuff like that. So some of the facilities will definitely be given like swimming pool, right? But of course, in this particular development, we notice that some of the things that is pretty common, like maybe gym, is omitted, probably due to limited space. But then again, instead of a gym, they actually replace it with a multi-fitness station that is actually on the rooftop. Right. So this is something what they have done in a way to make sure that at least it doesn't compromise in the whole entire lifestyle that you have over there. And plus the fact that right now, I think in this whole entire development, because it's a small development, they don't have a guard room. So henceforth, it's a gated perimeter, which means that when you comes in or you go out, basically it's through the basically it's through the transponder. They will just basically open the gate and you just drive in and out. Yeah.
So this is actually very unlike a lot of the boutique projects across Singapore. I mean, especially if you look across D15 itself as well as Kovan itself, a lot of these boutique projects, I think for those that do not know, especially if you come from the bigger projects, you will get the gut itself, you get a gym and all. Usually for smaller projects like this, 16 units in total, actually most of the time you will get facilities such as the swimming pool and then of course sheltered car parks and all of that. This is also to also help to keep the maintenance fees low on the whole.
General orientation, I think the development is along the southwest, northeast kind of orientation in terms of the compass map. So I would say that the units is being designed in a way that, from my understanding, most of the units will have actually so-called like an open view, right? So which means that they are along the perimeter of the whole entire building, right? But of course, in terms of orientation-wise, northwest, southeast. 16 units in total, made up of 3 plus study as the smallest unit at 990 square feet. Then it goes all the way up to a 5-bedroom, which is at 1,453 square feet. So in terms of unit size-wise, I would say that it's okay in terms of today's context, but definitely it's not the biggest. Because 1,400 plus square feet, I think you can still find about some 4-bedders in some developments. But what they are doing here is that definitely they are keeping the quantum to be a very palatable amount. Later on we can share a view of the quantum. But in terms of units distribution, what you get over here are 4 units of each. So 3 plus study, 3 plus guest, 4-bedroom and 5-bedroom. So the top floor unit basically will get, if I'm not wrong, should be a higher ceiling. And then, of course, you have the common facilities on the upper level.
Yep.
Okay, so quickly run through the floor plans with you. If you were to go to the show flat, you'll be seeing a show flat unit. And that particular show flat unit is actually the 3 plus study. So the difference between the 3 plus study and the 3 plus guest is that the area over here, where it's basically the optional room, for the guest room, they actually have a window, they have a wardrobe, they have AC right there and then a door to enclose it. So that's the reason why they call it a guest room. Whereas for the study, it's just basically one little corner that they have carved out for you to place a study table. So when you go to the show flat visit, you will see that it's being ID'd to be like a little study area right there. But what do you think of this? I think it's one of a very efficient layout. And one thing I realized also is that they have also designed the balcony to be very close to the kitchen. Yeah.
So looking at this layout, this floor plan, 3-bedroom plus study, dumbbell layout, of course, which means that you save on the long corridors. You don't get the particularly long corridors that may potentially eat into your square footage. You also get an enclosed kitchen, which at the show flat itself, it's done up beautifully, with this glass and all.
Yeah.
So it really visually enhances that space, opens up the space a lot more. I also like the study space because it is like it's really like a dedicated kind of study space whereby, let's say, at night you want to head there for work and all, it's away from the bedrooms.
Yeah, I think that's a very valid point.
Yeah.
So that's something that's very important as well, because sometimes study is actually located right in the middle of 2 bedrooms. Right, because developers will think that, okay, actually maybe you want to combine the kind of like space together, right?
And I think one thing to also note is that one of the common bedrooms have got a ensuite bath. I mean, it links out as well. So it's more like a Jack and Jill bath, but it really helps a lot to have a common bedroom to have a connecting bath. Yeah. Other than that, I think more or less, if you really want to sort of optimize this layout, just do something to the balcony, connect it more, make it more livable, and then connect it more to the living room to really enhance and enlarge the living space a lot more. Yeah. And I think also the home shelter, which will act as a storage space, is inside the house already. So you do have got a storage space.
Right. So I mean, one thing to note as well, because I was there, show flat, they did some changes to the master bathroom. So the master bathroom actually comes in the concept of a dry and a wet. So if you were to go there, of course, a lot of Peranakan hues everywhere in terms of the design. So even down to the floor tiles, they go by the Peranakan kind of like motifs. Even down to the ID finishing of the wardrobe as well, the door handles. When we look at the architect briefing, you can see that they actually weaved in the whole entire Peranakan DNA inside the whole design. So we can say that in terms of design-wise, if you are let's say a Peranakan heritage or Peranakan kind of like, you like the kind of like the
Can
taste.
appreciate it.
This is something that is really done up very nicely for you. But of course, with the sink outside, definitely it allows you or the main occupants of the house to actually use both the dry and the wet bathroom together at the same time.
Yeah.
So I think that's something that is quite nicely thought about.
Can we also maybe put a link up for the school bus tour? Sorry,
It's not a school bus tour, it's the new launch bus tour.
Bus tour,
Yep.
right
So-
up there, so
yes,
that
correct.
you
You can have a walkthrough of the show flat.
Yep.
Yeah. So this one is actually a 3+ guest room. So the main difference, as I mentioned, right, is this so-called the guest room right here. They actually designed really like a guest, really like a room that you can actually close it up. There's a wardrobe and a space for a single size bed. But one good thing about this design is that we understand that the whole entire development is not done in a PPVC format.
Yep.
So which means that the walls can be knocked down, and also likely that you may also want to do it if you want to, which is to combine the whole entire master bedroom space to make it bigger.
Yep.
That's one possibility that I can see. But otherwise, I think John Subit doesn't really like this kind of long layout, right?
it's a bit longish in nature. So do take note that when you enter in, then of course it's going to bring you all the way into a more longish type of configuration before you finally hit the bedrooms itself. So I think in terms of layout wise, probably you got to be a bit more creative in terms of how you want to arrange your furniture and all of that. And also, I think the interesting thing is to have the balcony right next to the kitchen. It's rather sizable. I mean, if you compare it to the bedrooms itself, it's basically the size of a bedroom.
And the balcony doors can be opened from the kitchen, right? Just to
So
confirm.
they want to make it like a very alfresco style. So they want to make it in a way whereby it's so easy for you to bring the food out from the kitchen right into the balcony area. And if you realize that these are all sliding doors, so the developers shared with us that the concept is that once you open up all the door, you get one central space, that flows right from your living area into your balcony, into your kitchen. So, there's no obstruction at all. So that is the kind of like design philosophy that they are going after.
Which is nice, then you can just live, because a lot of people actually now just put their dining right at the balcony.
Yeah,
So,
usually
I
the
guess-
case.
Yeah, now it seems to be the trend now. So putting it right next to the kitchen, putting your dining table out, then you'll have a much bigger living area. And then if you have kids, I think, then you have that play area too,
Right.
storage and all. It's really good.
Yep. But of course, do take note that because this unit is actually on the top right corner. Of course, if you orientate it vertically, this will be on the top right corner of the development, which means that your bedroom 1, bedroom 2, aside from your master bedroom, will be fronting towards the Parkway East Hospital.
Yeah.
Right. But of course, the master bedroom will be then looking straight into the landed enclave that's right behind. So that's generally the view for this particular 3+ guests. The next one will actually be the 4-bedder, which is a 1227 square feet. This is a 4-bedder that's on the bottom right of the development as stack number 1. So once again, but of course this particular unit is a 4-bedder. The balcony is actually fronting onto the other end of the development, which is a landed home right now.
Yeah.
I think in terms of design wise, it's also pretty standard. You get a Jack and Jill. Do you get a Jack and Jill? So this is actually like a Jack and Jill in a way.
Yeah.
It goes into the junior master.
Yes.
Right.
Yep.
So you basically share a same bathroom. You get another bathroom right here as well, which is mainly for the 2-bedroom. So this is basically like a 4-bed, 3-bath. And usually 4-bed rooms, if you want to get a 3-bathroom, it means that the layout will have to have 1 junior master and 1 master bedroom.
Yes.
Yeah. Otherwise, most of the time, if you see some of the new launches, 4-bedders only come with 2 bathrooms because 1 common bathroom that serves 3 bedrooms and 1 for the master bedroom. So in terms of this design-wise, I think it's also very nice that they have done it in a way that you get a junior master with a Jack and Jill concept. So at least you get 3 bathrooms, so you don't really have to fight for it.
Yep.
The last one
5
that
bedrooms.
we have is actually a 5-bedroom. So 1,453 square feet. This is stack number 3. This will be actually on the top left corner of the development, where you have most of the bedrooms and also the master bedroom that's actually fronting towards the landed enclave.
Actually, all the bedrooms are.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
But also do take note that this one will probably get in some of the evening sun
Yeah.
because this is fronting towards the southwest direction. But in terms of layout, I think it's also pretty. I mean, it's quite interesting for them to fit in the 5 bedrooms in 1,004 square feet,
It is.
which means that the space is definitely very efficiently planned out. It features a big balcony as well. You have a home shelter inside there as well, and you get quite a good sized master bedroom considering the floor plan, right? Where you get a dry and wet bathroom, you get a little L-shaped kind of like wardrobe space, and yet they can still fit in within 1,400 square feet. lah.
I do hope that the wet kitchen is also done in the same way where it's glassed up and all.
It is.
Okay.
So this is glassed up. So in a way, you basically get lights coming in from the balcony area. You get lights coming in from the living hall area as well.
Okay.
And you have that sliding, there's an arrow there, right? That
Yeah.
shows it's sliding panels at the wet kitchen.
That's a sliding door. lah.
Yeah, sliding door, yeah.
In terms of 5 bedroom supply within that area, am I right to say that it's quite rare?
I think it's quite rare. Most of developments are usually 4 bedders,
Yeah,
3 bedders,
4.
large formats.
Large 3 bedders,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, to get a 5 bedder in that district itself, I think quite rare. Yeah. So I think one interesting point to actually look out for would then be how well then this unit will actually perform. Yeah. Which then actually brings us to the pricing part.
Yeah, so this is what we understand from the developer during the preview phase. They have, in fact, when you look at this pricing, I think that they have priced it in a way that's very, very palatable in terms of quantum perspective. Because if you look at a 3+ study, you're looking at $2 million onwards. 3+ guest, which is you get a standalone bedroom for the guest, is about 2.17 million onwards. 4 bedder is about 2.55, and 5 bedder is at 3 million. So you're talking about freehold development.
Yes. In the
Freehold,
District 15.
District 15, you have $3 million quantum you are able to enter into the market for 5 bedder.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, let's not talk about the size lah. Just by quantum and stuff like that. So it's quite interesting how they price it. I think it's very much targeted. But then again, you only have 4 units.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But absolutely quantum play. I mean, just looking at this and looking at what's available across the entire country, if you're looking at around the 2 mil mark for a 3 bedder, I mean, it's basically what the newly TOP projects are going for right now. So you are going into something that's brand new, and it's freehold and it's in District 15. So I mean, District 15 definitely command a bit of a quantum, a bit of the
PSF
premium there.
Yeah,
Yes,
definitely.
there. So we are looking at this at 2,000 PSF, freehold and District 15. I think it's just very clear cut that this is going for a quantum play.
We were looking at some of the price comparisons in the market, right? So let's bring that up.
Do we want to start with the other smaller developments? Yeah. So we used Glenfield here as an anchor because that's the one that's closest to Straits at Joo Chiat. And what's surrounding it naturally in Joo Chiat are all your boutique developments lah. So these are the ones that came up. Of course, we see a range in terms of age, Glenfield being the oldest. So we wanted to take out then maybe the newer ones to see how they're performing. So I took out Shiro Park Blue.
Park Blue is this one?
Yes.
Right.
So there are only 55 units in this development, larger than Straits at Joo Chiat. And we can see that there have been recent transactions. So, I mean, one of the caveat that we always understand is that in boutique development, we don't get as many transactions. So we one good transaction is definitely going to help to raise up prices. And this one happened to be transacting at 1,002, and that was done in January for something of 1,001 kind of square feet.
This one should be a 3 bedder lah.
Looks to be a 3 bedder
Or it
considering
might
the
be
size.
a-
Considering it could be a
Could
3
be a-
plus study or something
right.
like that. Of course, I cannot confirm if this is a duplex because sometimes the level 5 units are already duplex units, so it could
Yeah,
be.
that's true.
Which is why maybe the PSF is also slightly
Lower.
more low and very competitive.
Right. The next one is actually Shiro. Right. It's also on the upwards trending as well. We have Palm Oasis right here. Palm Oasis is also one of the very highly sought after project in
Yes.
Telok Kurau area.
I remember doing a home tour there as well.
Right.
So since then, the risk is, of course, when we go into boutique developments, if there is a high transaction that can lift everything up, we also can see the opposite, which is what is happening here, where you see a slight dip in terms of the PSF just dropping a little bit. And then I think that's just kind of the thing that people need to be aware of when they're getting into this, because it happens across the whole of Telok Kurau, and we're only just showing 3 examples here. So we also wanted to take a look at some of the newer ones that have just TOP. So we go all the way to the end of the slides.
All the way to the end of slides, which is what? This one?
Do you have the newest one yet?
Which is at 77, is it?
Yeah, okay. So there are 3 that I've shortlisted, 3 projects that recently TOP'd. So 77 at East Coast is where the new Tiong Bahru Bakery is. Do you know where?
Right, yes.
Siglap, yeah.
Okay.
So that's that new building there. And we're already seeing 1 new transaction since. And we have seen that they have managed to make a profit from their last done, which was about 1,007 lah.
Right.
So this seller did happen to keep transactions going, which is, I think, good for the development. But also on the flip side, we also see 2 other developments. For example, Infini at East Coast, which is just down the road where Beach Road Promi is.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so right there, we haven't seen any new sub-sale not sub-sale, but
Resale.
new resale transactions yet. So the prices are still kept at the 2,000, 1,009, which I think at that point of time would be considered quite high for that.
At the point of
considering
launch,
that we are
correct.
launching at 2080. And then finally, we also see Tetch, which is closer to where we are, Palm Oasis there.
That is actually just right beside this development called
Elegance East?
Park Elegance.
Park Elegance,
Right,
yeah.
Park Elegance, correct. So this is actually fronting towards the main road, fronting towards the Upper Changi Road.
Correct.
Yeah, opposite the petrol kiosk.
That one's also like a not really mixed deal. There are some shops below.
The commercial shops at
Yeah,
the bottom,
commercial
right?
So this one, for this particular seller, of course, he's the first one to make a transaction. He did transact at what is the purchase price. In fact, when I went to look at the exact number, at the exact unit number, he did transact lower than the PSF that he bought. I think he bought 1,688, but he's
Ooh.
transacting at
1,677.
1,667. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, of course, different sellers have different motivations. With this, maybe there might be more transactions that will keep things healthy, but I think it's a very important consideration lah. But I do see that, like you shared just now, a lot of buyers are moving, or the developer also believes that a lot of buyers are looking into smaller developments because they just don't like the hustle and bustle of such a big crowd. Yeah, and I think this gives a good opportunity, especially for younger families, to enter into, which is
Sure.
I think we need to bring into the discussion also. I mean, because we consistently talk about the volume effect. Okay, we consistently talk about how boutique projects affect volume, hence affect valuation and all. I mean, we all recognize that. Okay, but I think the other alternative perspective to actually look at boutique projects is also from the angle that actually all of these small projects are pegged to, let's say, what we call as the big boys. Okay, so I mean, I used to stay at Kovan, so I'm very familiar with how boutique projects there perform with regards to let's say the big boys across the entire street there.
Kovan Melody,
Correct.
residences.
So nothing wrong, going into a small project. But the game plan, it's always to know that you will not be the forefront leader in pulling the price along. Yeah, you will, but your unit, your property eventually will be packed along and pulled along with the rest of the big boys as prices move on. Because eventually it will hit a point whereby yours will appear extremely attractive. Yeah, yours will be priced very competitively across the entire area there. Someone will come along and then say, "Wow, this is freehold. This has got the size there. This is of a young age."
Maybe 5 meters as well.
Yeah,
Rarity
and then
of 5 meters, right?
as compared to maybe something that is much older, maybe yes, in a bigger project and all, but someone will definitely see the plus point in that.
Yeah. You want to show the big boys movement. So this is actually what's done for Tembusu Grand. Very recently, you have seen that the transactions in April is trending at about 2005, 2003 PSF on average.
Correct.
Right, and then of course you have your continuum, which is at 2007, 2009 kind of PSF. No, I mean this is the big development. And definitely because of that kind of like positioning, the kind of like USPs of the project. Definitely you are able to ask for a very high kind of PSF pricing. But you can see that this kind of big development, the pricing of PSF is already $800 to $900 more than a small development already.
Correct.
Yeah. And this is also a freehold as well. Of course, the last project in D15 that everybody's talking about will be Grand Dunman. PSF wise, also I think average this year is also about 2006.
527, yeah.
Yeah, the kind of like PSF. So in a way, you can see that of course, if you are a person that like the kind of like small developments, you like the kind of like Joo Chiat area for the kind of heritage, or you just like the vibes over there, and you don't mind going into a small development with the kind of like Peranakan style. So there's a certain level of USPs. It's just like why people are very attracted to interlace. Why there are some people who are very attracted to the sail because of the DNA of the building, right? So for this, if let's say you are you like the kind of like Peranakan style, you like the kind of design, and if you are looking for let's say a big unit with multiple bedrooms like 4 beders or 5 beders, then likely this project Straits at Joo Chiat will appeal to you, because I think what John mentioned, there's not much of such a supply in that area to begin with. Plus also the fact that it allows you to enter into that D15 area at freehold at a $3 million quantum for a 5 bedder.
Which I think it's very hard to find now. Unless you really go to the
I mean, just
OCR,
take a look at Grand Dunman, $3 million latest transaction, 1,119 square feet, 99 years. I mean, of course, it's a different location altogether.
That's a three bedder.
Yeah, this is a three bedder, right? So you can see that the kind of like quantum that you're entering into. So it definitely will then appeals to people who see that value in their pricing. And also maybe if you want to stay close to your parents who have been living in, let's say, the Telok Kurau area, then this will be one of the few projects that you can consider lah. Right. Okay, so anything else to add on, John?
No, I think so. In summary, in summary, so I think if you are someone who is looking at D15 specifically, you love the area, you are totally into this Peranakan concept, the design concept itself, freehold lover, you want exclusivity, you need the size, you need the rooms as well. Then with the game plan of a long runway, at least a 10 years kind of runway, freehold, it's good to go 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. I think this is something that you might want to check out.
And in terms of rooms wise, I understand that every room you can put in a queen size bed. So at least that's a guaranteed, except for that guest bedroom in a 3+ guest layout. But otherwise, every bedroom will allow you to put in a queen size bed. Of course, the master bedroom allows you to put in a king size bed. So I think at least they don't really compromise in their living space. I remember one segment where Lyndon actually shared before is that actually whether the bedroom is a 7 square meters bedroom, 8 square meter bedroom, the amount of things that you put in the bedroom is the same. So you still put in a bed there, you put in at most maybe one bedside table. It's not like maybe a 9 square meters, you put in more things. So the kind of like space difference where you pay more, but the amount of things that you put inside is still pretty much the same. So that concept actually struck me. It's actually, it does make sense to a certain level.
But you have more space to walk.
Of course. You will not be compromised. I mean, the whole entire experience is a bit different. But in terms of the kind of value or the kind of things that you can bring into the bedroom, it's still pretty much the same. Yeah, but maybe you'll be paying a bit more for the bigger size.
Yeah.
Right, so...
Do I want anything else?
Anything to add on? Mikaela?
I mean, I do have one more thing to share.
Sure.
When we look back at the transaction just now, we were talking about how I only took out the newer projects. I think one of the reasons why, and I want to share with people, like, don't be afraid to enter into these sort of projects, because sometimes we see the valuations move so fluctuate so much, and we usually see that in the very old projects. And it's also because these owners bought in so cheap at that point in time.
Right.
To them, the extra or trying to beat what is the current price point in the market is not a big deal to them anymore. They've already made the money. So I would think that the newer projects are the ones where people will be more conservative in terms of wanting to, at least break even or make back a certain amount. So I think, of course, is with different projects, right? Different projects have its own USP, its own inherent traits, location, and all of that. So there's no right or wrong answer at the end of the day when it comes to boutique projects.
Yeah, correct.
It really is.
You must see a value to that, and you must like it in order to go into it.
Correct.
I think that's the whole idea about
Correct, yeah.
All right, so that's all. Thank you very much for covering and watching our Straits at Joo Chiat coverage of this new launch. And if you are interested in this development, do head down to the show flat that's along along Geylang Road, right beside Aljunied MRT station. So there's the show flat right there. There's ample of parkings available if you want to come by public transport. It's also very accessible as well. So if you want to find out more about this development or any of the new launch developments, do reach out to any of our new launch consultants. We are more than happy to run you through the floor plans, site plan analysis, tech analysis as well. So with that, thank you very much for covering. Thank you very much for watching our content, and do remember to follow us on our PLB Insights channel. Till the next one, bye bye.
Bye. We say bye to that camera again. Bye bye.